Hey, everybody, welcome back to Podcast Anonymous, your West Coast foremost podcast on the 12 steps. And I have with me today Katie. Katie's a huge up and coming influencer on TikTok. She goes by Katie, the sober alias. And man, I've spent a lot of time on some lives with Katie. She's got an amazing story, man. She's got a lot of avenues in which she works super hard for her recovery. Man, Katie, hey, how you doing, sis?
I'm here. Life is lifing, but I'm here. I'm still making it one day at a time.
Well, sis, tell me, so you said you've been sober, what, 13 months?
Yes,
Okay, so what led up to that? So it talks about, our life had become unmanageable.
my
So
life
let's
was very unmanageable.
okay, so let's talk about the unmanageability, right? Like what happened? Where did this thing begin? Where did you start to see it escalate? It talks about our disease is progressive, right? Tell me a little bit about how it progressed.
Well, I mean, I started when I was a teenager. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like, I wanted to fit in with my older brother in the crew, wanted to fit in all that stuff, but it didn't really progress until my late 20s. Whenever I lost my last son, custody of him. When I lost custody of him, I just went off. Like I started using heavy, but my heaviest use came when I moved actually to where I live now in Myrtle Beach. I became an IV user. I started just doing whatever it took to get what I needed. It didn't matter. It started really escalating whenever I was having to almost sell myself to get my fix. I was literally that bad off. And I would say up until about 4 years ago, I mean, my life was chaotic. It was it was insanely chaotic where I didn't know where I was going to eat, what I was going to sleep, what I was going to do. I didn't know any of this. And so um I 4 years ago I got a phone call from my mother and with my son on the other end of the phone. And that was the first time I'd seen him in like 4 years. Didn't know what he looked like until then. So, I was super excited about that, but I still, it wasn't enough for me to just stop. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I slowed down. I still wasn't, I was trying to become a functioning addict, as we call it. I had a good job. I was right underneath the store manager of a big lots. I was running the store. I was doing big things. I just got a house with the guy I was getting ready to marry. I was doing these great things. And I get a phone call from a detective saying, "Hey, you missed your court date."
Oh shit. Yeah.
you know? And this detective, the crazy thing about the detective is I've known him since I moved out here. He was a patrol cop when I was living out here.
Right.
So he's known and seen me out here being on the chaos and the madness and doing all these things, right? So I was like, dude, listen, man. Like, he's like, I've known you for all these years. He's like, you got warrants, just turn yourself in.
Right.
Well, I didn't get him. He's like, no, not doing that. Mm-mm. So I told him, I was like, listen, it was a month before I was supposed to get married. My family had already paid for the wedding dress, the everything to go on. So I
Right.
was like, dude, you've known me for all these years. I will turn myself in, but can I please get married first? And he's like, sure, I'll hold him off, get married.
Oh, that's cool.
You would think, right? Well, so I get home from getting married and I haven't turned myself in yet. It was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm still got a kid over here. I'm just got married. Well, it still was a chaos from still using. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready to all the way give up that fight. But me and my husband at the time, like we got an argument and it escalated to, domestic situation. And I left to go to a friend's house.
Well,
Well, my landlord told them when the cops showed up where I was. So here I was getting ready to leave from my friend's house to go pick her up, and here's two Myrtle Beach police officers blocking me in to where I'm at. And
wow.
I'm like, oh God, I said, this is it. Because
Right.
like 2 weeks before that, her and her boyfriend had gotten in a fight, and he called the law, and I'm walking home because I didn't want to get caught by the police. And
Right.
they pulled up on me and they're asking, "Oh, did you call the police?" I'm like, "No, sir. I think that was back there." And I just kept walking. I was like, "No, because that wasn't me," and kept walking. You know what I mean? So,
Oh,
and I told her, she's like, "Well, ma'am, we have a situation," and I was like, "Yes, we do. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. Go ahead and read me my rights. You're taking me to jail.
yeah.
This is over with. I've got warrants. I know it's time for me to go. This is my time." But they always say that everything, God does things in amazing ways and stuff. So this was my wake up call
So
because
let me tell you. So I don't know if you were on that live this morning, right? When they were talking about how we found God, right? And I said something. This is great. Like this morning, it still blows my mind. So that guy Jordan Scott that came on, right?
I don't think I saw him.
Right before I shared, or right before he came on to talk, and I was sharing about how God had saved me from a dude named Ricky Black, right? Ricky Black, straight killer, and he was coming for me, right? I had no idea. Dude showed up at a trailer I was coming out of, and next thing you know, I hear him say, "Man, I fucking forgot my knife," right? And I said, "Oh shit!" So I jumped on him. I got after him, and the crazy thing, and I didn't know it till this day, that dude Jordan Scott gets on that live this morning, who I haven't seen him in 10 years, and said, "Anthony, I drove him there." Right? Right? Yeah, look, blow my mind. So I'll tell you right now, like the book that I read says God is everything or he's nothing. He's in the middle of everything, right? He knew that you was going to get sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knew something. So
Something had to get.
something had to happen because you wasn't going to do it. So he had to do for you what you wasn't going to do for yourself.
Exactly. He definitely stopped me that day.
So
And I've been,
tell me how much time did you end up doing on that warrant, miss?
I did, well, I had a hold also for another county. So I did 3.5 months in J. Reuben here in Horry County. And in that 3 months, there's a program that saved my life, honestly. It's called Next Steps. And Next Steps is a group of women and men. The guy who started it actually was facing 25 years to life.
Oh wow.
And he was able to come out and now works for the sheriff's department for helping the men and the women that are incarcerated. Wow. The lady that planted the seed in me, I love her to death. I still see her at all our graduations. I talk to her on Facebook all the time. She's got 24 years. She came to me and she said, "Katie, I almost killed someone in a drunk driving accident." Right. And she's like, "I now work for the county that I used to be a repeat offender at."
Oh, wow.
And so talking to her, talking to the ladies that helped us every morning, they planted that seed and they planted that belief that I didn't have in myself, because at the time I didn't really have the support system. Like my family supported me, but they knew I was still out here screwing up and doing dumb stuff. You know what I mean? So they believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself, especially being incarcerated, So for the last 2 months I was there, I got up at 7 o'clock every morning, made my bed. We moved into a new building. Like they put us in this beautiful, like open concept. Like we were locked behind doors for the first month for 23 hours a day.
Right.
So then they move us to an open pod, where we can see over the little things, and like had a big sectional couch, like all these nice things that, yeah. You normally wouldn't have in jail,
Yeah.
So, I mean, like we had real coffee, like one time a day. Like we had all these things, but we also had to earn them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we had to learn how to, like, if we didn't have our beds made, you weren't getting coffee. You were getting wrote up. You had to write sentences. If you were disobeying a rule, you had to write things out. Like you would get in trouble if you weren't following these rules. So they were structuring us before we even got out.
Oh, wow.
Right. But basically, like I sat there for those 3 months and didn't know if I was going down the road for 3 years or if I was getting treatment court like I am now. Like I had no idea.
Okay, so that was from what, the next county?
The next county was Orangeburg County. I had a child support warrant for my oldest son because I pay for child support. They get you every time, but they do. So I'm sitting there like, but here's the crazy thing. So I go to court to find out that I'm going to get treatment court, Right. And I haven't heard anything else about this hold. I'm thinking I'm done. Because they bring me back. They put me in front of a Zoom thing with the drug court judge, the solicitor, the main solicitor, and our director for drug court here.
Right.
I'm sitting there like, in my blue suit, just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Are y'all gonna let me out? And they're saying, they're telling me to give me the rules and everything, and then they give me a sheet of paper that says, "You will be released today. Please report to drug court." So I'm reading this paper and I'm like, going home.
Yeah.
So I get back, I start crying. I'm like all excited. I'm packing my stuff up, giving stuff away in my commissary, thinking I'm going home.
Oh, shit.
I was wrong. I was wrong. So the next morning at 11 a.m., they call me to go over to the main building. And the guy that works, that's one of my counselors, meets me over there. And at the same time, I'm pulling into this building in the cages. Here comes the Orangeburg County Sheriff right behind me. And I'm just looking and I'm like,
oh, yeah, he's cuffing you up.
He's coming. It's just for me because nobody else is going to freaking Orangeburg but me. I know this. So literally, I walk in shackled, and he's like, okay, well, you're going to Orangeburg now. So when you get back from Orangeburg, you have to report back to us at the solicitor's office. I'm like, okay, well, there's no point in taking these off. Can you please take me back over here so I can get my stuff? So I'll go back across the road and then back over again, and then have to go get dressed out and everything and go to Orangeburg for like a month, and that was the worst jail I've ever been in. I do not recommend anybody going to Orangeburg jail. It was the worst experience ever. The first part of my stay was in a Sallyport room. That's all they had was a Sallyport room for the new people. And then it was all the worst offenders were on the other side of the room. That they only let out like certain rooms at one at a time.
Right. But
we're running and, helping them out doing these things. And they called me Myrtle Beach was my nickname in there. They'd be like, Myrtle Beach. And I'd come running, what you need, So I moved from the Sallyport to the open pod. There was 8 girls in here. Just didn't give a shit. There was no COs in there ever. Like they didn't care what we did. We didn't get to go outside, but maybe once in the blue moon. But the bad thing is there was holes about that big around in some of the walls. And on the other side of those walls is the men.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. And they can see through it. They can talk to you. Like it was the weirdest thing the first time I realized that you can tell when somebody's eyeball is sitting in there. So I'm literally like, I walk past and I see the light. Well, the next time I go by there, I see an eyeball, but I'm in my towel coming back from my shower. I'm like, hey, you, what? And I'm like, what? Like what is going on? They're taking these little, you remember, the flex pins?
Yeah.
In jail. These girls are taking flex pins and putting them together because somebody made hooch on the other side of the wall, trying to drink hooch, drinking through the wall. And I'm like, you don't even know what you're drinking. You can't even see what they're doing over there. Like, what are you thinking? Like, and I'm just sitting here like, wow, this is the weirdest experience in jail I've ever had in my life, Right. So now I'm 2.5 hours away from home.
Right.
My husband doesn't have a license and can't drive.
Right.
My dad just had knee surgery and can't drive.
Right.
So I'm getting ready to get released. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do to get home, Right. So one of the girls that was in jail with me gets released the same day. And I'm thinking it's going to be cool for her to be able to take me back home. When I tell you it took me 8 hours to get from Orangeburg, South Carolina to Myrtle Beach, and only a 2.5 hour drive because she had to go see this person and this person and this person and this person because she wanted to meet up with all the, using people. I'm like, listen, I have somewhere I've got to be by this point in time because now I have a curfew and I have to be there and I don't know if they're going to show up and they've already been to my house. Right. I was flipping out because I was like, I'm not going to prison because of this bitch, you know what I'm saying? So, but it was the craziest experience of my life, dealing with this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not going back, dude. I'm not going back because I can't deal with this craziness. Like my life, it seemed normal again. Like I don't even know what normal is, right? But I know that wasn't it. You know what I mean? And looking back at my life now, like even the chaos and unmanageability of my life since I got home from jail because of my husband has been chaotic. Because when I came home from jail, I find out my husband's been doing heroin, and was heavy, hard.
Let me ask you this. So you're still married to that guy?
Yes, we're still married.
Okay. And is he clean today?
Yes.
Oh, amen. Amen.
He had a recent relapse. He was, it took him about 8 or 9 months to get off of it completely. I've had to make him leave. I've had to do all these things. Like I had to set healthy boundaries. Like I can't personally leave my own home because treatment court won't allow me to.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I can't just pick up and go without permission. Like I have to
Oh
have
yeah.
a
Your
written
dad, no,
permission to be
they
able to
rush
go.
you. Yeah.
So, you know, I told him, I was like, you're going to be the one to have to go because I can't be
Yeah.
around this,
Yeah.
you know. So it got to the point where, you know, there was one night, all the neglect and hate, and like him not being there, you know, got so bad. Like we got in an argument, you know, in front of our apartment. And he got in my face, and I'm just like, don't, you know, just go, just leave me alone. And when he pushed me, and I tripped over something, and I had 5 staples put in my head that night because I hit my head on the corner of a
Yeah.
table. You know, and he says that, you know, I understand it's an accident, things happen, but
You know
because he was using, he's not thinking about what really could have happened, you know. And I told him, I'm like, I
Yeah.
went and stayed at my best friend's for like 3 weeks at a time, you know, I didn't come home for a while, you
Right.
know, because I didn't want to keep dealing with it. And I told him, listen, you're going to have to figure this out because I can't personally deal with it because I'm not going backwards.
I mean, you
And
don't
I
know
know,
how easily like you couldn't be standing here right now, right? Like I had a part. Well, I didn't wasn't a partner of mine, but we was at a internet casino one night, and I watched a dude get knocked out in the parking lot and fell and hit his head on a parking block, and he died.
yeah.
Died.
And that's what he never understood. I told him, I was like, I could have hit my head the wrong way. They said if I would have hit my head a little bit further back somewhere, what's that got hit right here? If I would have hit it any other place right in this area, it could have killed me.
Right.
And
Right.
I didn't even realize it was that bad. Like I was like, what? You know, but all I knew was I want him to get away from me. I, you know, I mean, just get away from me. I don't care. Just stay away from me in the moment, you know. And
The
you
treatment
know,
court didn't ask you why you were in the hospital.
oh, that was the same day as the first graduation I was supposed to attend. And so I was really freaking out because if we don't, that's our court date. Like if we have a graduation, they consider that a court date for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you don't show up, that's a bench warrant,
Yeah,
you know? So I'm in the hospital at 2:30 in the morning with staples getting put in my head and a neck brace because the way I fell, they said there was some kind of
yeah.
something going on in my neck. So I'm sitting there like they're giving me Toradol, whatever it was. And I'm like, I
No,
start freaking
no.
out because I'm by myself because he left, you know, he dropped me off at the hospital and left and went and got my best friend at the time and brought her. And I'm sitting there like, we got to call drug court. We got to call somebody. I'm in the hospital. Like, I can't go to graduation like this. Now, mind you, at the same time, I'm supposed to phase up to the next
Yeah.
phase of drug court. Okay. So they're like, don't worry, it's fine. You know, well, my best friend called and she's like, Katie's not going to make it. She's like, well, we need to talk to Katie. We don't need to talk to you. We need to talk to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, you know, here we go. I'm talking to her on the phone. I'm like, listen, I'm not able to make it to graduation, but I can come up there and give you my paperwork. And they're like, well, do you want to phase up today? I'm like, yeah, you know, I've been waiting for 2 weeks to phase up. I'm going to do this. Not still thinking correctly because
Yeah.
I haven't putting myself up from being at the hospital, nothing. I still have matted blood in my hair and no makeup on. Like, and I go to the courthouse. I go to the courthouse, and my first picture of being phased up is me, like,
Fucked
you
off.
know, with the neck brace on, matted bloody hair, like looking all kind of crazy, just trying to cheese for my picture. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? So the judge, the second time I phased up, I had to show a recovery board. And I don't know if you noticed that in one of my videos. I put my past, present, future board with my mug shots and all that. I made that video. So
hey, I'll tell. So I was just I do that, right? I go through people's videos just to see, and I'll tell you right now, bud, you've come a long way. Hey,
yeah, it was so bad.
I was looking at one and I said, "Fuck, that poor girl. She come a long way."
Let me tell you, when I put that board up on the desk right there with the judge, you know, he looked at me and he looked at that board and he looked at me again and he looked at my board and he was like,
"Oh shit,
really?
Yeah, no shit."
Dang.
Hey, and the first one was bad, but there was a second one I seen that I was like,
second one, I looked evil as all get
like,
out, dude.
Like I was just like, oh my God, who the fuck is that? Right?
That's what my husband calls Elizabeth. He calls me that my second.
Fucking second personality, huh?
Yeah, like when I'm in a bad mood or something, he'll be like, okay, Elizabeth, get away from me.
Oh shit.
Like it's great. Like it's great. So I call him because his middle name is Anthony. So I'll be like, okay, Anthony, don't need to shine. Go ahead.
Hey, so let's talk about treatment court. We'll slap treatment court back and forth. So I've never done personally. I've never how do you put it? I've never qualified for treatment court, right? So like I said, like I'm coming up on 6 years, and they didn't have drug court in California. I didn't experience helping guys do drug court until I got to Idaho. That shit's vicious.
It is very.
It is like
it saved my life. You know, I had 5 years.
A lot of dudes I've helped that I've taken through the book that it saved their life. But man, I'll tell you right now, the things that I've seen, I would probably, if they said, "Hey, we're going to offer you treatment court," I'd tell them to pound sand and just send me to prison. And let me get.
Well, that was my first thing because everybody in jail is like, it's a setup. Don't do it. You know, you're going to end up doing your time. You know, because I went from 3 years to 5 years suspended to 18-month drug court.
So that's same here. It's 18 months is the fastest, and that's doing everything perfect.
Well, they have a level 1, which is 30 days. They have a level 2, which is 9 months, and then they have the level 3, which is 18 months now. Because this was their 20th year, the last graduation we had on the 26th of August. This was their 20th year doing it here. But depending on the severity of your crimes, like I had trafficking, distribution, like possession, those descriptive, all that stuff. But they knocked it down because I guess some of it wasn't real. I don't know because it never really told me. But they knocked it down to a P with third offense.
Okay.
So I got lucky because I was looking at a lot of time. You know, with what I had, you know, the methamphetamine, I had fentanyl, I had benzos, I had all this in my lockbox. You know, but it just. I was scared, you know what I mean? Like I was scared that I wasn't gonna be able to do it because I was like, man, this is just a lot. It's overwhelming when you first start, you know, the rules, like if you fail, you got to go to jail for the weekend, or if you do this 4 times, you go up for termination. Now, the craziest things that I've heard in drug court, I've never failed a drug test. Right. I've only been sanctioned 1 time because I was 2 minutes late to court because of my husband, you know. And I had to do 8 hours of community service at the nasty landfill, and I've never messed up again because I was not going to do that. So, you know, I've been in there since November. I started in October, but I didn't get out of jail till November. So I graduate in February, God willing. You know, I'm still, you know, I still have a paranoia about getting my hair test done because I'm waiting on that, and I have another counseling session I have to do, and I have to pay half of my court costs. Right. And then I can go to the aftercare part of the 4th phase of my level. Right. But like right now, like I went from having a 9 o'clock curfew to a 10 o'clock curfew to 11. Like I had to be home. Like I can't even smoke a cigarette. If my curfew officer comes, because that's how strict they are. Because they can't tell if you done walked up on the house or not. You know, because you're sitting outside. And that guy, he's had some moments with us because my husband had warrants. So when I was living at my best friend's, when I had my head busted open, he showed up over there because he didn't have the new address yet on file. So he starts banging on the door, you know, bright lights in the window. He hears my husband trying to rustle up into the attic, you know, and he's like, "Mr. Grimm, it's just me. It's just your neighborhood friendly drug court officer. You know, I'm just looking for Katie."
I've seen drug court officers break people up. Like you can't be with that dude, or you can't be with that girl.
You sign your life away, literally. Like I mean, like I worry because like my neighbor, it's that wall behind me is like a partition wall. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not really thick or anything like that. So my neighbor, he smokes weed. Right. A lot. Right. So I've come home and you can smell it in my house.
Oh shit.
Now, if you have like a ball. I get when they come to my house, it's freaking 1 o'clock in the morning now because my curfew is midnight, so they'll stop at like 1 and wake me up out of my sleep. So if they smell weed, if they smell alcohol, if they feel like there's something going on, they can come in my house and search it at any point in time. Any car that I'm in, any house that I'm in, they can search anything they want to if they have an inkling of anything like that. And if they find something in the house, I go to prison.
Yeah.
They don't get whoever's it is, they'll be fine. It's just me.
Yeah.
And that I wouldn't ride anywhere with my husband whenever he was using, because he had a work van that I knew he had stuff in. And like, I wouldn't ride with him anywhere. I wouldn't go anywhere with him in public because I'm scared to death that
Yeah.
they're all watching him, and he's going to get pulled over because he has no license. They know he doesn't have a license, and I'm going to jail,
Right.
because that's an automatic termination hearing if you catch any charge.
And yeah.
So,
Any charges, you're gone.
yeah, so I don't, I don't play about that at all. Like, that's one thing that I had to learn really quick, is to be selfish in my recovery, because right now my freedom is everything. Because
Hey,
if
so
I
I'm
it's
going to tell you something crazy that happened at the treatment center that does the outpatient for our drug program here for the drug court. A dude was dirty and didn't want to get caught, and he dropped a couple grams of shit in the coffee pot at the treatment center, and and wiped out a whole group,
wow.
Even the peer support specialist, who's a good friend of mine. She's the one. If she wouldn't have drank it, they would all got fucked. But she got home that night and couldn't sleep, and realized, hey, something's wrong, right? And then when it started popping up that all these people in the group, in the class, were loaded or were dirty, then she tested herself and came back positive for amphetamines, right? And if she wouldn't have drank it, they'd all been screwed. And this dude,
That's
and I'll tell you
crazy.
right now, so look, I was managing a grocery store in town at the time, and the fucking head police officer comes in there, and he knows that me and another partner of mine are big in our recovery community. And he walks up to me, he's the chief of police for Orfino, and he says, hey, I got a feeling you guys know who did that shit, and I don't care how he ends up at my fucking office. Right? And I'm thinking, did this motherfucker just give me the right to go fuck this dude up and bring him to his fucking office? No, I ain't doing that shit, right? Like, but it was big time shit, right? And fucking, you hear stories of crazy shit maybe like that, but that it really fucking happened. It wiped out a whole.
Well, we had we've had to change our whole bathroom setup
Right.
because about 4 months ago, yeah, 4 months ago, one guy tried to do the fake pee thing.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
when they did that, they made the guys start taking everything out of their pockets. Well, the girls were fine in their bathroom because you're right in front of me. You can't hide nothing. So the next guy, a couple, like 2 months after that, decides, have you heard of those Wizinators?
Oh yeah, and say, hey, you're not gonna get away with that because hey, look, a white boy's dick ain't that big.
Like, not only that, like, they're watching you, they're standing over you, like, come on. So,
Hey,
like, he literally has a Wizinator out, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so now they take down all the doors in the men's bathroom. So they literally have a box that you have to stand in, like, taped on the floor. You stand in that box and you pee in that cup. And if you have to still pee, you better get close to that toilet before you just pee on the floor,
Yeah.
And so then they have to empty it in the girls' bathroom. So now
Right.
we're having to use the employee bathroom that's super tiny,
Yeah.
for the women, because there's not that many women. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, they put him in jail,
Yeah.
put him up for a termination hearing. I make them do the next steps program for 28 days, things like that. And,
Have you ever
I'm
seen
just
how
like,
those things work?
well, we were explained to how it works, because the guy who caught him was actually a drug court client that graduated 15 years ago. And
So
he's like,
there's for all you people out there that have never heard of the Wizinator, let me break down the Wizinator real quick. So it is a fake wiener that's the size of your arm, right? Like it's massive. There's no fucking way, right? And then it's got a tube that runs between your legs to a little pouch that sticks between your butt cheeks, and you squeeze your butt cheeks and it pees into this cup. And the first time I ever seen one, I thought, there's no way that anybody is going to pull that out of their pants and somebody's going to say, that's you. Fuck no. It looks like a baby arm holding an apple, bud. Like, this motherfucker's monstrous. But they
yeah.
try and they go spend $100 and something on this thing to get caught.
And yeah, and then now you're back in jail and almost, getting terminated because you can't be honest and accountable for you doing something you weren't supposed to be doing.
Oh shit.
And it's just like if you're honest with them,
Yeah.
you can get a lot further. You know what I mean? Like if you're dishonest and you send the P off and you've been doing it and you're just not honest about it, they're gonna give you extra weekends, more of this and that, the third.
Right.
Like it's a crazy thing. But at the same time, it's teaching you to be accountable.
Right. Right.
And that's one thing that I'm grateful for because now I can say that like if I mess up, at least I'm at this point, if I mess up and I have to do a whole nother year, I'm gonna be pissed. But that's gonna be my own fault. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be anybody else's fault but my own. And I'm by the grace of God, I've been doing good.
If you drink too much water, they give you dilutes and
yeah, they'll send it off for that. They'll get you get in trouble for that. Like there's a whole it's a whole crazy thing. Like
a crazy thing.
But at the same time, like people really think that they can get away with loss. And look, today, like some dude literally poured water in his cup. I'm like,
oh, yeah, they try.
You got people that'll try anything, and I'm just like,
and that's it. That's insanity, right?
That's that insanity and addiction in your head talking to you.
But that's where, like the book I read, where it talks about the phenomenon of craving and the mental obsession, right? Like I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep this thing going, right? And you'd be surprised, like how much energy and thought people put into that. If they just didn't do it, like life would be so much more peaceful.
And that's what I was talking about today when I was speaking at the lighthouse today. I told him, I was like, I didn't think 2 years ago, if I thought 2 years ago I'd be sitting here talking to you or doing the things I'm doing on TikTok and doing the things I'm doing in my life, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have literally thought you were crazy. I'd be like, you're not, you're full. No. But, I have a 2-bedroom house now.
Amen.
I have my own car. Amen. I have a career with, I have 49 properties that I'm vacation rentals I manage on top of 8 long-term rentals that I manage, right. And I'm about to go get my peer support license to put that in there because now as having my criminal background that I do, I understand how hard it is to find homes. For a lot of addicts can't find homes because of their background. So I can say that like in the last 2 months that like my boss said, well, you hadn't done a background check? And I was like, no. I said, did you do a background check on me? Because you knew when I got out of jail today, I got out of jail here. I was at your office working for you with my husband. Yeah. So, and you put me in a place knowing I had a background in what I did, and you put me in the house I am now because with my background, right. Being jacked up. So I have a guy friend that's in my home group, really good friend of mine. He's from out west in Utah. Right. He's been clean almost 2 years, and he called me and was like, hey, I heard you do apartments, do you have any available? And it took us a couple months to find him one. Like I only had like 2 that I think at the time that really were open. And he was like, well, I'm about to get this settlement, and I want to, I want to buy a car. I want to do this. I want to get a place. So we finally got him a place. And he got everything settled. And he called me like 2 weeks after he got it because I hadn't really seen him but here like a couple times since then. Because since he got a car, he's on the move going to see his family and stuff, Yeah. So he called me. He's like, Katie, I just want to tell you thank you. Okay. He's like, I'm in my 40s and I've never had a home of my own because nobody would give me a chance.
Right.
And he's like, I've either been in prison or I've been jumping from couch to couch to couch to couch, or jail or this or that, and he's like, or in a sober living. I've never had my own place where I can have peace. And he's like, you gave that to me. You gave me that opportunity when nobody else would. Right. And I was like, and that right there, that was the first apartment besides my neighbor over here that's in treatment court with me. I got her one too. But that actually has never had a home. Right. And that felt so good to me to be able to help somebody. So it's like I want to eventually, my goal and dream is to eventually take the peer support and the property management that I do and group them together and find housing and help, people who are trying to get themselves together but don't have that opportunity because someone won't give them that second chance. to
Right.
give them something, to have that second chance. So, because, and to be, good members of society, because that's all they want to do. A lot of us want to do. We want to be good, productive members of society, and nobody wants to believe us because of our past,
Right.
But that's my goal, because I've helped probably 4 or 5 people that are addicts that never had a chance, that have never had homes or have been pushed to the side. And I'm like, it's not fair, because here I am with my background. My husband's facing 7 to 10 years possibly right now.
Oh,
Like we're hoping to get him. Yeah, we're hoping to get him in treatment court. You know what I mean? But yeah, because he's a habitual offender.
oh, yeah.
So the last time he went to court, he's like, they want to nail me to the wall. They want to give me 7 to 10 years. And that's a long time. Like we were talking about it today, and I said, Josh, what if they do that to you? I said, because I will still be here. I'm still gonna, support you, because you never left my side whenever, and whenever he was in jail recently or right after his birthday, we just moved into this house. We literally had just moved in, put the first payment on it. You know what I mean? Like, I was just starting to really start working with the guy. I hadn't even got into the property management part. I was doing his job.
Yeah.
I was doing all the maintenance and doing all these things, and
Right.
to keep getting money coming in to be able to pay for the place that we just got by myself. And I had just got part of my settlement that I had from an accident years ago to keep up and make sure he had money and was okay and had, commissary, all that stuff, because he did it for me
Yeah.
without picking up, without having to go sell anything, without having to sell his stuff, my stuff, and do all this, because that was what he had to do. He felt like he had to go and sell drugs and do this and do
Right.
that to be able to take care of me. And I did it sober. I did it going to drug court. I did it going to meetings. I did it and it was stressful. It was hard by myself. Like I didn't know what to think, but it also gave me that time to sit back and focus on myself and realize that, it wasn't we're not in a perfect relationship, where we're going through a lot. We're still going through a lot.
It's going to be perfect, bud.
But at the end of the day, regardless of anything that we've been through, we have come out stronger. He's been my best friend. He's been my biggest supporter, even when, like we did my celebration on the 22nd, and, he's over there on the couch crying, just like boo-hooing, just because he sees who I was 3 years ago.
Right.
He's been there whenever I was at my worst, when I was at my best. And he's been, regardless of him using, he's been one of my biggest supporters, even whenever I pushed him to the side. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm never going to give up on you, but I have to focus on me at the same time.
Right.
I have to make sure that I'm okay right now. And I said, that means that you got to go over here for a little while and get your stuff together. That's what it means.
Right.
And it's what it took. It took me literally taking his crap and throwing it in the yard and saying, hey, I'm not doing this thing. You know what I mean? Like, you either gonna get this together or you're not.
Right.
And so finally it kind of opened his eyes to that, and he's like, you know what, you're right. You do a lot for me, you do a lot for my son, you do a lot for our home, you do all these things, and I don't appreciate it like I should.
Right.
Because I don't have to take care of a kid that's not mine. I don't. But like, I love that little boy like he's my own, and I look at him like he's my own, and I will always look at him as my own.
Right.
So, we do T-ball now. We got to sign up for school. We do all these fun things that, I wouldn't be able to do if I was using it still. Right. I would be too selfish to care to do it, So,
let's get into, so you are a member of a 12-step program.
Yes.
You are an active working member of a 12-step program, correct?
Yes.
So tell me about your experience so far with a 12-step program. So the only people that I've seen survive after treatment court are those who get wrapped up with a 12-step program and continue that stuff down the road. So tell me a little bit about your experience with the 12-step program.
So my experience was, I didn't really know how to start it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand it. We started in jail, like I started doing all my steps somewhat in jail, but I didn't do them. I started again whenever I got out, because I felt like when you're in jail, you got to do something. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have that. and I felt more free doing them whenever I got out. So my first meeting was like a week after I got out of jail because I had to start doing meetings and I'd do 2 a week for treatment court. And so I walk in this meeting and I'm just sitting there like, bump on the log, don't know what to do. And it's a round robin meeting. So it is going around and it gets to me. And I'm like, what do I do?
Right.
What do I say? And I'm like, hey, I'm Katie, I'm an addict. And I'm like, do I pass? No, let me speak because I can't give, what I'm saying, I can't not understand and learn this stuff. So, I got my phone numbers, and there was a lady that's there that was in jail speaking. And that drew me to her. And I was like, you know what? Like this is where I need to be. Right. This felt like home. Right. So I started making my phone calls to people, but I didn't have a sponsor until I was probably 6 months into the program.
Right. Okay.
And so because there wasn't a lot of females that had a lot of time. Right. That were continually coming to the home group that I chose.
That's the same problem that we have out here. The lack of female sponsorship is out of control.
Yeah. So I didn't really, and it's not that I was worried about, because here women, I don't trust a lot of women. So it was more like I had to have that connection with you.
Yeah.
So the sponsor I have now, we talk, but we don't really, she never really worked the steps with me or tried to start the steps with me. So I was doing all this on my own, and I was calling her, with some other things, and we were talking, but we never really sat down and started working the steps. But I felt after a while, I'm like, I'm really missing something. Something's not, because, I'm not going to be able to figure out what's going on if I don't do something. Right. And I'm going to meetings, yeah, but I can talk about my problems to y'all and TikTok and everybody. But if I'm not doing the things I need to do inside, I'm just going to be sitting here doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
So I did my first step, and kind of like I was telling you, like my life was chaotic. It was terrible. Right. I had to write all these things down and just realize that, dang, I am backed up right now. Like I was doing some crazy shit that I don't, what I mean? My mind was,
right.
And so, and then I get, I keep going, and my second step was a little harder, right. And then the third step, it gets a little harder because I don't want to admit these things to other people.
Right.
I don't want to talk about the other people because I'm like, they're going to judge me. They're not going to like me anymore.
Yeah.
And so there was a lady that was in my home group. When I joined my home group, she was there with her other half. And she looked really familiar to me. And I was sitting there thinking, like, where is she from? Where do I know her from? She was the first lady who spoke to us in the meetings in jail.
Oh, wow.
So I spoke to her. We got really close. And she just celebrated 4 years, So I made sure that I was there because she was, my sponsor couldn't be at my celebration. Like I said, she's a kind of sponsor. So it might be, I'm looking for a new one kind of at the moment, just because I don't feel like the connection's really there like it was. So I had her ask her if she could speak, until, at my celebration. And, as we were talking though, she's like, these steps are really working for you though, because you're kind of understanding more and more. Cause I started chairing meetings. I started doing more service work. I started, attending things like, I'm getting ready to sign up to be registered for, the ultimate national, Narcotics Anonymous convention coming in November.
Oh, wow.
Down here in Myrtle Beach, because it's huge. It's this huge thing they do at a hotel. I'm trying to, like, this tonight, like I went and spoke for HI, place, and I wasn't even supposed to be in there by myself, but the guy didn't show up, so I had to go in there and talk anyway.
Right.
But but yeah, I mean, I'm still working them, and I keep going back sometimes. Like, I'll go back and I'll think about something because, like I said, I still have those character defects. I still have all these things that I'm trying to go through because I used to have control issues. I used to want things to go my way, and if they didn't, then it was either my way or the highway. You know what I mean? And Like I was very jealous. I was very all these things. And I didn't realize that till I got to that, I'm getting down to that
Right.
part. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person.
But
You
here's the
know?
thing. Here's the thing. Let me intercede a little bit. Take it easy on yourself. One, right? You've only been clean 18 months.
Right.
Hey, take it easy on yourself. So an old timer gave me the best advice ever. He said, look, Ant, you're not going to get your brains back until you got 5 years. So until you hit 5 years, it's okay right now to do dumb shit.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm going to tell you right now, you're one of a fucking handful of influencers on fucking TikTok that's doing the deal. Right? I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now, you always hear them them little sayings in meetings. The one I hate the worst is meeting makers make it.
Yeah.
Step takers make it. Meeting makers don't make it. They just stay dry or they stay sick. Step takers are the ones that have a spiritual experience as a result of the steps, and they start to change, and their psychological everything changes, right? But you're doing that, right? You're doing that. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, right? I'll tell you,
Yeah.
because it drives. So I've been struggling with that on the TikTok a little bit. I've been struggling with that, right? Like I've already copped some major resentments. I've had to work some shit out with my sponsor. I've had to, but I ain't said nothing, so I ain't had to make no amends, right?
Right.
But I'm glad I got to interview you, man, because look, now I know like fucking Katie's doing the deal, right? Like you're being of service, you have a sponsor, you're going to meetings regularly, especially, I mean, if you're an H&I panel, bud, you're going in and sharing the message. That's the
The
business
thing
right
is,
there.
I haven't even got on that panel yet. I've just been invited in.
Yeah,
Like I haven't even gone through the process to get cleared to go into prisons or anything yet because every meeting they have is on the same day I have treatment court. So I keep
but
asking for the Zoom stuff so I can get on the Zoom and do it.
right.
But they'll keep asking me to come in, and I'm like, that's huge for me because that's what spoke to me when I was in jail.
Right.
That's what made me want to do what I'm doing right now.
It'll come with the future because you're going to have to be off treatment court before you do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probation. Yeah, probation ain't gonna let you walk. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the reason I haven't got my complete property management license yet because I had to go in June. I had to go in front of the entire real estate board of South Carolina, all these big judges and all these
Oh,
people, and I had my whole family, like my mom, my stepdad, my dad, my stepmom, my employer, who has connections in there, people that knew me very well, like write statements that about on my behalf, and then I wrote my statement. And so I went in, the people that were supposed to go with me didn't show up. So I had to go in by myself, and I was freaking out because I'm like, this is going to be bad. Like they're going to, and so I'm sitting there reading my statement and I'm just bawling, crying because I'm like, it's of me. It's who I am. It's what I've been through. It's been my struggle. And it's more in depth, than the story that I tell because I want them to understand that I may have done these things, but I'm doing what I need to do to better myself.
good.
And so being on a supervised program, they're like, well, we can't approve you. And usually that rejection right there would just,
Right.
you know what I mean? So the lady took me back because they wanted to talk and see what was, what they were going to discuss, whatever it was. So she came in there. She's like, listen, this is what you can do. She's like, either you can go back in there right now, they deny you, and you can't reapply for 2 more years after you finish treatment court, or you can come in, withdraw your application,
Good.
finish treatment court, and you can immediately apply again, and we can go through this process again, and you can be approved.
Right.
And so, but at first, that killed me. You know what I mean? Like, that really bothered me, because I'm like, what do I know they like me? And I was freshly, really, out of jail doing these things. My boss, it was just probably back in like December, January. So I was only out of jail for like a month, maybe two.
And it's not personal.
And it's not. It's all.
No,
I mean,
they got guidelines, right?
I mean, it's just the policies. It's just the way.
Yeah, it's policy.
So I get it now, and I didn't at the time. And I was so upset. I'm driving home. I'm like crying. I'm calling my dad. I'm calling my mom.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, but God, God does these things for a reason. There was a reason why I wasn't supposed to get that right then. And now I can go back and I've got more experience. I've learned more. I'm not rushed to do it. I can take my time this time to understand and go through the things instead of feeling like I'm having to rush and do every boo 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 for my boss, and like I'm learning different things. Like there's still a lot to learn, but like I'm taking my time, and it's I enjoy it. Like I enjoy being able to be there and help people that are coming from out of town or coming from wherever, like just the other day I was telling Chris, I said it was really weird for me because I don't buy alcohol, I don't drink, nothing like that. So I'm like the guest liaison. Like you need something, he gets you in touch with me. I set it up for whenever you get there.
Right.
So the first time I started doing this, it was a lady's birthday. I went and got her a cake, balloons, and flowers, and had it set up in her house whenever the property she was staying at. So I get a random message at like 9 o'clock at night from some guy. He's like, "Hey, this is Kyle from the guys trip. Like I know who you are." You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
yeah, who gives a fuck? Yeah.
like, okay, what can I do for you,
Yeah.
Kyle? Like, and he's like, I need. David said you could help me out with getting some beer at the house before they get there, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, David, why would you do like I'm telling him about why would you do this to me? You know what I mean? Because I don't do that. And it's not just a trigger for me. I just don't feel comfortable with it. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Not yet.
And so right, because it's still new. It's just like, the first time I found, rigs in my husband's bag, like 6 months ago. Like
Right.
that was like, whoa, because that's what I did. I'm
Right.
like, I can't be around this,
Yeah.
but now it almost the thought of doing them, it makes me sick almost because I
Right.
had to see my husband go through it.
Right.
And now I see what my family
Right.
dealing with someone they love, using. And it's heartbreaking. It kills you. But I did. I went and I got the beer for the guy, put it in the fridge, and he's like, "Well, can you after I done like, can you unbox it and put it in there and take it out of the box?" I'm like, "Oh, I just, I said, I'm sorry, I've already left. To put them in the fridge. That's as good as you're gonna get for me. Thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like
Yeah.
it's just little things like that that like catch me, and I'm like,
Eventually,
wow,
look, and so eventually, uh, so like I told you earlier, I'm an AA member, right? Our book says that we do not, but this is after a spiritual experience, right? That we don't stray away from dinner parties, stuff like that, where they serve alcohol, right? We don't not live our lives, right? So,
right,
and I didn't know. So let me tell you something, right? So I didn't understand that I had had a spiritual experience. I went through the steps. I was rigorously honest. I did all that until my third year. I got hurt. I hurt my shoulder at work, and I wasn't working. And a buddy of mine's about 9 years sober. He calls me, says, "Hey, you want to bounce with me at the bar for lumberjack days? Hey, which is our fare here, right?" And I
yeah,
said, "Fuck, I need the money, right?" Me and my old lady at the time, I was like, "Fuck, I need the money." "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll do it." I'm sitting in the back of this bar in their back patio part, and I'm watching these people, and it dawned on me, and all of a sudden I felt it in my head say, "Man, I've really had a spiritual experience, right? I have not. I did the obsession to drink is gone. The fucking I feel empathy for every idiot in this back thing right now." And I did that shit for 2 years, 2 years in a row. I bounced at that fucking bar, right? Uh, the meat shop I work at, they drink. You know what I'm saying? Them guys all get down.
and it happens like that. There's a girl that I'm really good friends with that graduated treatment court. She bartends at the bar down the street.
Right.
Like people, I mean, and there's people that are in treatment court that are bartending as a job.
Right. I'm
It's
surprised they let
all
him do that though.
me
That's
too,
crazy.
me too. But hey,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
it's each
yeah.
his own. I wouldn't do it, but
They wouldn't let him here. They would have told me, "No, you got to find another job."
yeah, like it's just, and I think my spiritual awakening was really my husband. Like honestly, I think it
Right.
was because, you know, seeing that and having to go through that and go through what my family went through
Yeah.
and go through like feeling those feelings of like, and it was hard to not have resentment, you know what I mean, for all the things that happened during that time, like the Staples doing this, him doing this.
and
all
you
these things. And
and
it's hard.
you're gonna and once you get through the steps, sis, and you've gone through the whole process, it says we, you know, that we know how to handle things that used to baffle us, right? I
Mhm.
know how to handle things that used to baffle us, right?
Yeah,
All
like
that's
I just cut off my best friend of 5 years, you know, because
good.
I'm
I'm
not,
proud of you.
I did. I don't speak to her. You know the situation. You were
Yeah.
there when I was talking.
What?
Like I literally, her boyfriend and my husband, they're partners. They're business partners. And I'm fine with that. Y'all can keep working together. I don't mind. Don't bring her to my house. You know what I mean? You cross the line. Don't bring her to my house. I do
Yeah.
not want. You know what I mean? Like that was my boundary. I do not want her in my life. She crossed
Right.
that. No, we're not doing that. So apparently, my husband had somebody cash out money or had money cash out to him. He doesn't have cash out. He had him sent to hers. Well, the boyfriend brings her in the car and everything over to my house the other night.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, something, you just have a gut feeling there's just something going on. So I walk outside and I see them in my yard. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my yard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do not want me around you in your house.
Get
Do
the
not
fuck
come to
out of
mine.
here, right? Like
I was
bounce.
like, back it up, go. And my husband said, you're being super ratchet. I said, I don't care. Get her the hell out of my yard. This is my house. I pay for this. You know what I mean? Like, this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah. Hey, you can go too, motherfucker.
So that's why I'm like, listen, I do this. This is me.
Yeah.
So the next day, because me and him are in treatment court together, her boyfriend. And I've known him for 8 years. We used to date back in the day, like
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, listen, I'm not mad at you. I'm
Right.
not mad at you, but don't bring her back to my house.
Right.
And he said,
Really, you
Katie,
don't even have to be mad at her. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, just, it's over.
yeah, that's what I told him. Like, I'm just done. I blocked her on everything. Like, she was out there trying to film me while I was telling her to get the hell. I'm like, I don't care. Put me on TikTok. I'm already there anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. What are you gonna do? Like, I'm done with it. Wash my hands. But he's like, he goes, Katie, I'm sorry. He said, because I do take blame for that because I should have went home and took her home first before I came over there.
And
He
well,
said, I
the cool
do
thing
take
is
blame for that.
they won't
And
do
I
it
was,
again. Right.
he won't do it again.
They won't do it again.
He said, I will never do that again. He
Good.
said, I'm so sorry. And he said, I'm so sorry. I didn't, and listen, you would think, because me and him hated each other. We did not talk.
Yeah.
The last 5 years of 3 years of their relationship, we have not talked. We didn't, nothing. He hates me. I hate him. Nothing. You would think that me and him are best friends now.
Well, I mean, that's the,
And, and that's a lot of it. He sees that a lot of things that I've done, I've changed a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. I've apologized for a lot of things. And he said, Katie, you were not wrong in that situation. You were fine. I've been told her that, he's because my bank account's messed up right now from a kid doing what he did, So he was like, well, since you don't have a card, do you need some money or cash? I'm like, no, I don't need you giving me any cash or your girlfriend freaks out on me.
oh,
No.
yeah. That's a bad idea. Bad idea.
I have a husband for that. Like, no, I'm good. We're not doing that. No, but thank you. I was like, appreciate it, but no. So, just little things like that. Like, and I think it's hilarious because, like, I still have to call him. It's like to get in touch with my husband. Like, if they're going to a job because they work for us, and then they do all our landscaping and stuff like that and our maintenance. So if I have a job and I can't get in touch with my husband, I got to call him. So my husband at first was like, well, you don't need to be calling him. And I was like, well, if I can't get in touch with you and it's about work, I'm calling him. Sorry. So I know he's with you, but it goes full circle. I talked to her daughter, like her daughter was my niece basically, like, and I sent her a message because like I've been there for since she was 14 years old. She'll be 18 in December. She's graduating high school this year. And I texted her and I'm like, listen, I don't want to get you in trouble. I messaged her on Facebook because I knew her mom would be checking to see if I text her because she told me not to. So I messaged her on Facebook and I'm just like, hey, I love you. I'm sorry that this is what's going on between me and your mom. Don't think that anything has to do with you because she feels a lot of times like she's a problem, like she does things. And I said, this has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with your brother. I love you. I miss you. I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm not supposed to talk to you. And I said, but that's hard for me to do because, you know, I've been there for so much for her when her mom wasn't. Like, I was their nanny for a couple of years, stuff like this, like those kids have been through a lot, and it was just hard for me to just break that tie. But I had to because of their mom, and I still will be there. I will still, if she wants me to be there for her, I will always be there for her. I've told her that many times. If you want to call me, always, I will be here waiting whenever. Me, all of us, we love her to death. We love her brother. But as far as her mom, I said, I'm sorry, I just can't. That's something I can forgive her for myself, but I can't allow that back in my life. I just won't.
Hey, so, and you'll look, so this is probably, look, once you start to understand and demand respect, everybody around you is going to treat you a lot better, right? Well, now they all realize, oh, Katie's not a pushover, right? Like, Katie's just not going to bow. They're going to mind their P's and Q's, right? And that's what I've been trying to tell. My last couple of days videos have been on people playing the victim, right? Man, because I've been hearing that shit a lot. And so yeah. I've been trying to teach myself to soften my approach with things, right? I wasn't sponsored like that. I wasn't sponsored like that at all, right? My sponsor, I'd call and tell him and he would go, fuck, you're a sick fuck, man. What did you do, right? Like, and I mean, he would tell me, no, man, that ain't right. You need to do something else, right? Or I'd call him griping about something and he'd be like, you let her back again? You're an idiot. That's your fault, right? Like, you let her come back. That's your fault. You know what I mean? Like,
you're just opening that door again.
Right, you know what I mean? And that's what, that night when you were sharing it, I was like, God, I wish I could just reach through the screen and choke her out and say, look, just, you got to stand up for yourself, fool. They're going to change, right? Any bully's going to stop.
That's the thing. Like, and she made a comment to me saying, like, oh, you're bitter, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, or I'm miserable. And I'm just like, if I'm bitter and miserable because I got my shit together and I don't allow people to talk to me and be the way they are to me like I used to, then I'll be that. Yeah. Fine. If that's how you want to see me be, I'll be that, But I love the me I am today. I mean, my husband made a comment to me a couple months ago, probably whenever he was still using, whenever it was. He said, I like you better when you were using than I do now sometimes. And I'm like, why? I was mean as hell. I was mean. I didn't care. I was throwing stuff. I was up, all kind of stuff. I said, me now, like, I just, I'm still mean as hell. Don't get it twisted. I'm still mean, but I choose when to be mean. You know what I mean? Like, I choose when I have to be that person, but I always stand up for myself now. I don't let people just walk over me. I don't allow things to just, because at the end of the day, I'm like all of us, we're all miracles, and I've had many experiences not with using that caused me to, almost die. And so, I don't want to lose anything else in my life. And if I go back and I allow myself to enable these things and allow these things into my life, then I might as well just go back to the way I was. And I don't want to be that person.
See, and that's the reason I'm so harsh, because the book I read says to drink is to die, right? To get loaded is to die. You don't know, right? And I'm not gonna sit back and think, I should have fucking told that dude. I should have told him, right? But I understand, I'm just trying to get used to the whole TikTok thing, right? And but I found a group of dudes, right? Some savages. This dude out of Vermont, Joe Schmo.
I love him.
Oh shit! So I was on his live this morning with him and another dude from New York, and then another dude from the Netherlands over in Europe. And we was talking shit to each other. We're fucking setting it how it is. And it's all 12 steps. Yep. That's it. And I'll tell you right now, like, I was like, and I've been chit-chatting with this dude all day for the last couple of days. That dude is a savage.
He is something serious. Like, I've watched his videos. He came in one of my lives a while back, and he made a couple of comments and everything, and I followed him. But I see his videos pop up on my feed all the time. And so I'm like, oh man, this is cool. But he taught the things he talks about is so real,
Oh, it's
you
real.
know, and
About
I
as
love
raw
it.
as you
And
can
it's
get. Yeah.
the guy from Scotland that we talk to sometimes in our life, Dave. He is awesome. Like I'll hop
Yeah.
on his thing. It's just real. Because
Real.
I'd rather you be real with me than
Right.
sugarcoat shit. I don't like sugarcoating anything for anybody because I used to be that person.
Right.
But my daddy always says, I didn't raise no bitch.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm like, and I'm the only girl of all boys. So I have all boys. I don't have any girls. Other than the only girl in my life is my dog.
Right.
That's it. So I'm a boy mom. I'm used to the boy,
Right.
being real, the
Right.
rough, the ugly, the good, the bad, all that stuff. So,
I'll be honest. I don't respect anything else. Right. I
yeah,
don't respect shady, soft,
if
none
you're
of.
shady, I'm gonna call you on it. Like if I feel
Yeah.
like you're being shady or too like whatever, I'm gonna call you on your shit
Hey, when I
because
was interviewing Joel, like I said, man, like it tells my book says to pause when I'm agitated or doubtful.
mm-hmm,
If I'm having a conversation with you and I got to pause, the outcome's not going to be good afterwards.
right,
Right? If you're saying something that's got me to where I need to shut up and not cause no chaos, it's going to get bad. You know what I mean?
right.
It's going to get real bad. So, well, sister, look, hey, I love you.
Love you
We run
too.
out of time. It's got to be getting late where you're at.
It is 10:15 here.
Yeah, this sun's still up here.
Oh, lucky you. I have my
Seven,
son.
seven, 17, I think. Well, look,
Yeah,
guys. Hey, Katie, sober alias, follow her on TikTok. Man, this has been one of the best stories, sister. Hey, I love you. I respect what you're doing. I'm so glad I had this interview because I'm weeding out right now, right? I'm weeding out those who I respect on TikTok, and I'm weeding out the ones I don't. And
well,
man,
thank
I
you for
totally
having me.
respect your program, and you're doing everything that's been suggested to you. So,
Oh, well,
hey,
thank you
just
for having me, Anthony. I'm glad we finally got to do this. I know we've been
I
trying for
will
a couple of
definitely
years.
I will see you tomorrow.